I'm honored and delighted to be joined by some really fantastic speakers from the industry. So let me start with some, basic introductions. We have Mr. Satyen Adhikari. He's the creative director at DDB Mudra. To his left, you have Mr. Tonnit Thomas. He's the founder of Tonnit Design. And then we have Mr. Nirmal Diwadkar. After having spent decades in the industry, he is now the head of Colors Art Institute in Dubai. So firstly, let me say thank you for making time in your day and being here. I think it makes a big difference to students who are sitting here, the words of wisdom that you're going to be sharing. So let's start with that note. Thank you.
Pleasure and privilege. And thank you for your attendance. This is a gathering of creative minds. So we would encourage you to be informal and participative. It's not a conference of banking.
Yeah, so we can all loosen up a bit, we'll definitely make it interactive. And we'll start by asking each of our speakers, if you don't mind, to just start with a small introduction about, give students some context, some background about what you've been doing, a little bit about your career. Starting with you.
And it's DDB worldwide, yeah? DDB Mudras in India. So I've been in the industry now for close to 25 years. I started my career as actually an illustrator in a small magazine in India, in Bombay. And I've been in Dubai for now about 20 years. So my journey's been from like an art director to a creative director today and everything in between. So yeah, it's been like a fun ride. So worked on some really interesting brands, won quite a few of the industry awards. And what we're going to be speaking about today, I think, is very interesting for me because from my entire journey and what your journey will be going from this point onwards for the next 5-10 years is going to be very, very different. So I think it's going to be an interesting conversation. I hope you guys enjoy it.
Thank you. My name is Tonnit. I've been in the industry for 26 years now. Started as a junior visualizer in Saatchi & Saatchi in India agency, and then I moved to agency called Trikaya Grey. Now it's Grey Worldwide. Been there for a couple of years, and then came to Dubai about 22 years back. Worked as a creative lead in agency called Bates Pangers, BPG, and I was one of the part of the team. We developed the Dubai Shopping Festival, Dubai Summer Surprises, the Jumeirah Beach residences, all that stuff. Started my own journey about 15 years back. I started my creative and design agency called Tonnit Design. We've been in the industry specifically in creative, on focusing on creative brand and design, and we've been in the top 100 SMEs of Dubai 3 times, and agencies working across GCC, Africa and India. We have multiple different types of clients into branding and creative, and now we are here and also working as a mentorship program in Colors Institute with Nirmal. So that's the background, and over to Nirmal.
Let me add to what he said. I must share with all of you that Tonnit's first office started operating out of a toilet. And he's one of the most respected names in the industry in the region. So his journey has been fantastic, and I've seen it unfold right in front of me. My name is Nirmal Diwadkar. I have been in the region for 30 years. I have lived in Dubai. I've lived and worked in Dubai, obviously, in Cairo and in Beirut. I have been with 2 MNCs in the advertising world, Low Worldwide and TBWA. I have been a visiting lecturer in the Cairo University. I have set up agencies for my networks. I have been the creative leader for 7 countries. Is there any other pomposity that I need to talk about? I can do that, but I have worked across various brands, across various categories. The best part of my career in the last 30 years has been teaching. That is my passion, and I think I'm going to follow that for the rest of my life till life allows me.
Fantastic.
I have to tell one more. When I came to Dubai, I first got an interview with him in Low, and he was looking at my portfolio 22 years back. I don't know he remembers that, but when I told him about a couple of years back when I met him. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that nice introduction. Really, I mean, we're delighted that we have so many, your experience and the projects that you worked on, the kind of clients that you work with, have really enriched you, and I think you're perfectly poised to talk on this subject and guide students as we move forward. So let me start by asking you, what does it mean to be a creative career or a creative person in the current context? Maybe Satyen, you could start with that.
I think to be a creative, as I was saying, it's very, very different from, I'm still learning. So I think first thing you guys need to do if you want to embark on this journey is to never stop learning. You're going to be learning every single day, and you need to be upskilling almost all the time. I'm sure all of you are aware of ever since generative AI has come into the picture, things have really changed. But then that is just a tool that you need to know how to use really well. What's really important is that you learn the foundations of what it means to be a good creative, whether your passion is related to art, whether it's related to writing or anything else, design, anything. I think it's important to learn all the basics and the foundations of what it means to be a good creative. And then as you go along, I think you need to be constantly upskilling, and even sort of, for example, if you're like an art director, I think you need to be able to even learn creative strategy. You need to be able to read data. So these are things that I was not required to do, but as for you guys moving forward, you will have to learn your core skill and also learn other skills that will make you a stronger creative per se. You will have a lot, I think, when you step out of your university, when you sort of start get into the main work stream, the more multi-skilled you are, the more in demand I think creatives will be. I think it's quite an interesting future. So it is nothing, I don't think it's a challenge, but I think it's a very interesting and creative challenge that you guys should all be looking forward to. I think it's going to be really fun.
I think, like Satyen said, that upscaling, updating is one of the key things. Also, as from a creative perspective, looking at how we observe things is very important. Observation is one of the key things in as a creative person. Once you observe, once you analyze what is around you, and update yourself on that. And as a creative person, it's very important to embrace. The kind of taking kind of what do you say? All there's a lot of stress in what we have, but when you do a creative, but keeping that focused in terms of what you believe in yourself is very important. Also, nowadays there is huge opportunities across AI. Not only AI, it's fashion in industry, in filming industry, in various kind of industry, and everything is coming towards a kind of tech-based, looking forward in the tech-based business. So I think a lot of touch points in terms of being a creative person,
Yeah, what it means to be creative today, the lines have blurred really. What was Apple? Was it creative? Is it a creative company or is it a tech company? The lines have blurred, What is tech today is complemented by the creative industry and vice versa. One cannot exist without the other. What is happening here today? There is live streaming happening. Digital ads were created. Marketing material was created. It will continue to market itself from a creative perspective. Bringing information to all of you about this event needs a lot of creativity. It means if you are creative with words, or you're creative with aesthetics, or you're creative with technology, it's all part of the creative industry today. I don't know of any industry today which does not require design or words in a creative way. So like Tonnit and Satyen have been, have mentioned, one needs to be multidimensional. You might choose aesthetics as your stream, but you need to keep your eyes and ears open for words, for music, for poetry, for theatre. Lines have blurred. You might choose a stream that is led by words, but aesthetics becomes as important. I think poetry encourages music encourages painting encourages cinema, so on and so forth. So unless we are talking about performing arts or fine arts, that's a different thing. But even there, one thing inspires the other. Gone are the days where one was looking for a career which was only words related, whether you wanted to be a journalist or whether you wanted to be a copywriter or anything else, broadcaster. Today, everything has to coexist with each other because everything involves technology. And the evolution of technology happens because problems need to be solved. Creativity is about problem solving hand in hand with technology. That's the way we look at it today.
Well said. And there's so many takeaways just from the first question that we actually took up. So the future is going to be multidimensional. It's going to be, be keeping your ears open, eyes open, being a sponge, being willing to learn, experiment and evolve and adapt. So I think all of these are important skill sets. Please make notes of that as takeaways from this session. I wanted to just, touch upon one thing. When you look at not just Dubai as a market, but even other markets, there's so much prominence or so much mindshare that is taken over by STEM subjects and STEM careers. So my question is, do you think creative industries also offer good growth potential? Do they have good job prospects? If you could just maybe comment on that.
Can you start? See if... I think all that's going to happen with the creative industry is, I think, the execution requirements or the way you think needs to change. But creativity is everywhere. It's a very, very promising career now, and I think even more so moving forward, because if you see the entertainment industry, which requires creatives, there's a gaming industry that requires creative. The communication industry requires creative. Your tools may change, but in terms of what it means to be a creative and what Nirmal said earlier about problem solving, about trying to take what you have, whether it's a product, whether it's an experience, and making it unique, you still need a creative mindset to be able to, put that in front of people. Obviously, way people consume content is constantly changing. People's attention spans are reducing. But again, these are the challenges that will keep evolving. But if you yourself as a creative keep pace with that and teach yourself, learn those things, and again, goes back to upskilling and being multifaceted, I think it's very, very important. But the relevance of the industry, I think, is always going to be there. It's just what you will be expected to do as a creative from what you were expected to do, say, 10, 15 years back. Probably the demands might be different, but then you will learn that. You will actually become an individual who is very, very comfortable in dealing with that kind of stuff if you sort of make sure that you make your foundation really strong, you study those things properly, and obviously never lose your passion for learning. And think, so long story short, I think it's a lot of relevant. I mean, STEM is STEM. The thing is, if you want to take up that kind of a career, you can. But I think even if you choose to do STEM and you actually creatively inclined, there is no reason why you could not be creating the next generative AI, tool that creatives use. And you would actually need to be creative to an extent to be able to even use technology or create technology that creatives would use in the future. So I think it crosses over quite nicely. And maybe I read a very interesting video the other day about, I think, the head of NVIDIA, which, as you know, is a chip making company, and their business has just taken off ever since AI became prominent. And what he said was, what people have been telling their children to study is, engineering or computer engineering specifically. But what AI will probably do is make everybody a computer engineer. That there might not be a need for you to study computer engineering the way computer engineers have studied it before, but you just have to learn how to use it well. So, like, the access, yes, application is important, but you will not need to learn how to sort of learn the basic programming, because AI will probably do it for you. So there might be a lot of STEM careers that may not be relevant in the future, possibly, if AI develops further. But I think as a creative, if you sort of apply yourself right and you learn all the right things, I think you'll be okay. I think a computer can't still think like a creative, but it can possibly think like an engineer.
Yeah, I think what Satyen said is absolutely right. I mean, in STEM, mathematics, science and everything, there is underlying creative thinking there. I mean, so the creativity or the creative subjects, what you learn, or the way you want to get into the creative field, always there's a kind of underlining. You can apply that into mathematics, so problem solving, or engineering skill set, or things like that. I think it's all goes under a similar umbrella. I mean, creativity is the underlining, I think, thinking for everything. Even the new AI part coming in, there is that touch point of creativity is always there in terms of. So therefore, that out of the box thinking and in terms of a creative thinker is very important to be part of all what they do. Even if you get into any kind of STEM subjects, I mean, that's what I think that. Creativity is across, so it's not classified or to ensure.
Look, STEM, I mean, I can't imagine science without creativity today. What is modeling? Biology, does it not need human modeling, internal and external? Technology, what is architecture today? What is retail? What is engineering? How are real estate projects presented to you? Is it not walkthroughs? That is creativity. So there is no industry today or almost no industry today that I know of, that does not require the services of creative talent to put out what it has to offer. It is in words, it is in aesthetics, it is in software, everything that's on our phones, whether it's an app, whether it is a website, whether it is a model, everything is executed by a creative person. So, like I mentioned earlier, they are complementing each other and they cannot do without each other. Creative industry and the STEM industry cannot do without each other if they have to be successful. So it's actually fantastic for creatively inclined people to today choose which industry they want to be part of. I want to be part of science, but I want to do the creative part of science. I want to look at health. I mean, look at your gyms, look at your trainers. What is all that you watch on YouTube? That's health industry. But your workouts are brought to you by creative people. Think of any app that's on your phone which does not require the help of creative talent. So, I mean, it has never been better. I wish all these things existed when we started our careers. We only had to choose between advertising or design or fine art or journalism or copywriting or photography or filmmaking. That's it. Today, everything, what is Instagram? It's filmmaking. He's streaming live. He's making a film. Tomorrow, somebody will add music to it, make a post, production of it, and put it out there. So, tell me one industry that does not, unless it's, psychology or telepathy or something like that.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's pretty clear that creative industries really have a lot of growth potential. And I think if there's one thing that you should really pay attention on is to always follow your heart, be true to yourself. Don't go towards an industry or a career because you think it pays well or that it seems lucrative and everyone else in your class is doing it. If you follow your heart and you choose something that you really want to do, you'll be happier doing it. You'll do well in that job, and you won't feel that existence of being stuck in a career or job that you don't like. So this is an important message I think that we want to kind of bring out, and thank you so much for highlighting that. we live in an interconnected world, and no matter which part of the side you are on, there's something that you can bring to the table. Just do what you do well and do it with a lot of passion.
I have two friends that I can think of who have studied engineering but are today working at Accenture in the UI UX. I think one of them is a project director. So, and before that, if you remember Flash, he was a Flash programmer, but I don't think he ever wanted to really study engineering, but he went through with it. But then when he got a chance to switch careers, he did. So never pursue something that you're not passionate about. If you're passionate about science and math, then that is what you should do. But if you have a creative streak in you and you strongly believe that is where your future lies, then you will not be happy doing something that, maybe your parents have asked you to do, or you think that is something where, like Amit mentioned, is where the money is. Because that should not be the priority when you actually start your career. Money should not be the priority when you start your career. It's important, but that will naturally come in when you actually become an individual who's, skilled and good enough to actually earn that money, but it never comes, not the first thing that you should be looking at.
Sure, please.
I have two of my colleagues working with me who are engineering. One is engineering graduate and one is an architect. But they completely turned to a graphic designer because their passion was graphic design. And they started when I think second or third year of engineering or architecture, they started experiencing how they can get into graphic design. Their talent, they saw that. And now they're working with me as senior graphic designers, and they're doing extremely well. And they also are into AI and things like that. So it is, whatever they taught, they studied in architecture. They right now actually they're applying in terms of the colors, the design style, the layouts and stuff like that. So I think it's that is the beauty of creativity. The creativity can be touched on every. It's a huge subject.
Since they have given examples, let me also add some.
Sure, please.
Look at commentators, look at as journalists, look at filmmakers who cover sports events. You might be mad about football. Can everybody be a football star? No. But you can live your entire life on the football field if you do these things. This is creative industry. Right? I have a friend of mine who was mad about boxing. The coach took one look at him. He was 5 feet 2 inches. He said, no way in hell can you be a boxer. But he wanted to spend his time around the boxing ring. So he decided to join a boxing federation company as a content creator. And he's the happiest guy there is. He's a great filmmaker. And he spends all his time with all the boxing stars that he reads about. Much like the football example that I gave you. So you can combine interests. If you're greatly interested in sport, but your talent lies in filmmaking or writing or something, you can combine the two. Going back to the concept of the lines have blurred. So that's where we are today. You guys are very, very lucky, living in a very, very fortunate time.
Welcome. All right. There was also one point I wanted to kind of touch upon, which is that sometimes we see a mismatch, between the skills that students are graduating with and, what's really required in the industry. So are there any tips that you can share with the students here in terms of what are the things they can look at when they're choosing an art and design school?
I think one of the most important things, would be quite a few things actually, but I think the relevance to today's industry, you need to research whether the things that you're being taught there are relevant when you actually finish that course. Is it a course that actually keeps updating information? Does it have faculty that are quite current who are just in the industry, or you have visiting faculty that are currently in the industry? So you're completely up to date as to what is actually happening out there. Does the course give you practical assignments? Then it gives you that necessary exposure by giving you internships and placements while you're still studying. So because the industry is changing and will change so rapidly, that it's important that whatever you're learning is okay. Like I know that traditionally, whenever I was in art school, it was these are the things that you're going to learn in year 1, year 2. So it was all fixed. I think the more fluid that is moving forward, and I'm sure because the industry is changing so rapidly and possibly the adoption of technology or the application of crossing over of various industries, whatever is happening in the real world, as long as your university or college is covering that for you and you have done your research to ensure that is being done, then that is the right university for you. Something that keeps pace with the changing industry, because you don't want to be doing a course 5 years in. I've met people who come in from colleges I will not name, who come and sit in front of me after 5 years and, okay, here's my portfolio and what do you think? I mean, sorry to say, but I look at that and I actually feel sorry for the parents, because the parents actually don't know that the kid has actually spent 5 years, probably they've spent a lot of money, and he's actually unemployable after 5 years. So that should not happen. So it's very important to do your due diligence for the parents and for the child. And it's easy. I mean, the information is everywhere. You try and reach out, and a good college would actually give you that information, provided you yourself are equipped to actually understand that the information given to you is correct, it's relevant. You cannot take anything at don't go in just for the pitch. Do your own research, understand what the course is all about, understand what the needs of the industry are, and where you want to say tomorrow you want to go into entertainment, you want to become a filmmaker, then you see where the film industry is headed and you make sure that your course covers those aspects of education while you're still in it, gives you enough exposure to the changing industry. And I think that would apply to anything in the creative stream that you would choose, as long as it's updatable course, a flexible curriculum that evolves and keeps pace. I think you'll be fine when you actually step out. And also, I think reputation matters. So reputed, at least, I mean, it's not something that, especially if you want to get out there and then you want to actually break into like a big company, whether it's in advertising, whether it's in a filmmaking or a gaming studio, where you come in from matters. So to them, because then they trust the institute that the students are here to deliver certain quality, so they would actually hire you because of, obviously you should have the work to show for it, but the reputation of the institute matters a lot. Look at the alumni where have the people who've finished in that particular university, where are they working now? If they've and if the more the better, if they are well established, and if the university even gives you access to these individuals, maybe they come speak or they sort of do these come in as guest lecturers, the more access you have, that maybe I really don't know a lot about colleges in the industry at the moment. From what I've read and from what I know, I think I'm sure it's changed a lot since the time when I was in college. But if they're doing all of these things, they'll have to do a lot more of that in the next 5 to 10 years to be able to keep pace. So it's doing all of that, and then you're in the right college, right university.
Yeah, I think Satyen has covered a lot of points. My one feedback is that it's very important to find the faculty. I mean, industry faculties are very, very key in when you actually get into a college, because what you learn from the college and what you come to in a practical phase of work life is two different things. I've seen so many of them because I see portfolios, people coming from across university, reputed university sometimes, show the portfolio, a beautiful portfolio, but actually when they sit on the computer and start, they have no clue on what they're doing. So it's very important to connect with the right uni who's got a right faculty space, and that's the key. I mean, if you choose a uni, also in terms of career placements or what the university can offer you to the next level is also one thing you need to look into it. Ambience of the uni, that's very important. Sometimes the creative people love to be in a space where they can show creativity. They can feel it. You study in a uni which is in somewhere in and you don't feel like to. So these are small touch points as a creative person or a creativity to get that ambience is very. So he is relatable to what you do. End of the day, what you will do in a workplace. So these are my touch points in terms of.
Yeah, to be honest, universities, it's a challenge for them to keep pace with the pace of the industry as things happen on a day-to-day basis. Trends keep changing too fast. It's not easy to go back to the university and update everything overnight. It's a huge challenge. But having said that, I mean, one should look at who is going to groom you, who is going to teach you. Are you yourself in touch with what's happening in the industry as you're studying or not? Does it not become your responsibility as well? Or the parents or, advisors in your life? You should not be in a box of what's happening only in your college or in your university. You should constantly be in touch with what is happening on a day-to-day basis in the industry. How is it that things work in your day-to-day life once you're a part of the industry? Research has told us that there is a gap, and I do believe that both sides need to make an effort to collaborate with each other, the industry side as well as the education side, to make it easier for future talent. I think both parties owe it to the fields and to the futures of the next generation. The better effort there is towards this, the better it will be for everybody. But my honest advice is, as an aspiring creative person, if you can find a great mentor, great advisors, good for you. Look for one. They are hard to come by. Keep your eyes and ears open on what's happening in the real world. Go visit agencies. Go visit design houses. Go visit creative houses. Don't just stay in your campus or in your university. Yeah, and it is like I said, the responsibility of the universities, of the formal traditional education system, of the professionals who are heading, who are leaders in the industry. Collaboration needs to happen, and it is for the betterment of everybody, of the industry at large, for its future talent as well.
Thank you. I think there are some really good points that came up, and I'm going to come to my last question, and we really like to keep the flow open for a Q&A session. So this is one which is going to be really quick. And Nirmal, since you have the mic, perhaps you could start first. What do you think are going to be some really exciting careers in the future? What would be your hand-picked choice for the top 5 careers?
Oh, I would first start with asking myself, do I want to go, do words excite me, or does aesthetics excite me? And then I would really, if I was part of this generation, I would ask myself, what are my interests? Am I interested in sport? Am I interested in something else? How can I combine my passion for words with my passion for sport or whatever it is, and find a career there? So it will be more satisfying for me, for in life at large. I get a bit of being in the boxing ring as well as, creating content out of it, whether it's in words or in pictures or in cinema. If I can be part of a third industry as well, I would use my creative talent to do that as well. So, multiple choices.
Keep an open mind and follow your heart.
Yeah,
right?
Because I also do believe that things keep changing in the journey of life. If you are a great storyteller, whether in words or in pictures or in moving pictures or in music, that stays with you. But your other interests keep changing as you go through the journey of life. You might be mad about football today. Tomorrow you might be mad about something else. But you can apply those skills to every industry that you go to and tick so many boxes of passion in your life as you go along. Well, that's the beauty of being in the creative industry, really.
Thanks.
Now business, actually, now our creative industry, there are a lot of touch points are there in terms of content strategy. Content management is one of the key, upcoming or current, focus of students. Creating content. So these are new. These are different. New opening apps coming up. Content strategy or making content is a big thing. Reels now, Instagram Reels, this thing. So photography is part of it, or visual language is part of it. Styling is part of it. So when food photography is part of it. How to style a food photography. So that is one area of looking. Now, also in art direction, how to create visuals, create communication, create key visuals. So that is different kind of way of thinking. And also there are a lot of hidden touch points, subjects in our business which is not even explored, which is creating in 3D, in retouching, in so many things. People like to become an art director or a creative director, but they don't understand the basic touch points. There's so many subjects can be looked at it from an art perspective or a creative perspective. Also, data visualization. That's another area, another huge area to look at it. Data visualization is big time in our industry. Sustainable design. So there are much different touch points of subjects across now. So it's like an ocean. If you you just need to classify what is your area to look at it, and then there are a lot of multiple subjects under that. So that's what I.
Thanks.
I think what's very important for me when you think of your creative career is what Nirmal said earlier. Do you like words? Do you like visuals? You can start with that. But I don't think the traditional roles will probably exist as much, or even if they do, by the time you finish college, over time they would probably just reduce in relevance. So it's important that what you learn is that you are able to apply that, and like I said, upskill yourself to adapt to the changes. Having said that, I think some future-oriented career choices for a creative person in design would definitely, I feel, would be the next level of UI and UX design, because experience design, I think, matters still, and it's going to matter even more because everything everything is in the midst of a digital transformation. So everything has an app, everything has a website, everything has a digital interface. So that and that probably takes you into something like AR and VR. So if it's not on your phone or on your tablet, it's probably in your headset. So that designing and sort of programming that is something that's going to remain. Facebook rebranded to Meta for a reason, and we're not there yet, but I'm sure with the advent of more like cheaper and lighter headsets, AR and VR is going to be a very important creative field that you might want to explore. The entertainment industry is getting more and more interesting all the time. So, and the gaming industry. So all these require creatives as well. Whether it's in the game development. What people are using at the moment as tools will probably change, but the need would still be there. So as long as you're equipped to use those tools, and you will be, provided, like we discussed earlier, if you've kept pace with what's happening outside your college, outside your curriculum, and you know what the industry needs, you have to just ensure that you're actually learning those things that will be needed like 5 years from now, not like immediately once you're out. So as long as you're future ready, you should be fine. And I think it's really important for you as a creative individual to remain passionate, because the moment you lose passion in the creative industry, you're done. So if you have no passion, you're on the wrong field, because it's not an easy field. It's quite tough. And creative people do this because they enjoy it. So if you have no enjoyment, if you treat it like work, you're done. Because what keeps you going is the passion and the enjoyment of actually creation. So as long as you have that in you, you can keep going. So we've all been in the industry for like 20 plus years. If we didn't have that passion, we wouldn't be like, we are doing different things from where we started, but nobody gave up. That's because everyone is still passionate about, and they believe that, they can still contribute and they enjoy the process. So that is really critical. Whatever you choose to do, be passionate about it, because without passion, you're not going to have fun. If you're not having fun, you're not going to, so you're done. So yeah.
the best part about this industry is you are in the company constantly of musicians, photographers, writers, poets, filmmakers, colorists, painters. And that's a very, very satisfying and enriching life. When you look back at 10 years that have gone by, you will be amazed at how much inspiration you've got from brilliant minds around you. And this field is such that you need each other. Poets need musicians. Musicians and poets need filmmakers. Filmmakers need painters, artists, actors. So suddenly, 10, 15 years have gone by and you have accumulated so many wonderful memories and experiences from people who were just stunningly brilliant along the way. And you feel blessed, really. So like Satyen was saying, it's all about the coming together of passionate people. And there are no words really to express it. It's the most satisfying thing there is.
Thank you. I think it's been a fantastic discussion. Let's give our lovely speakers a big round of applause.